Hey folks, this is Mary. Welcome back to my channel. So it is Sunday, and that means we are here for another episode of Swatching Sunday. And we are making great progress on our rack today. I'm just looking at this. We've got 13 samples left. I'm just wondering if we should push through and finish this rack today, or if I should save a few for next time. Well, we'll see how things go. We'll see how I'm feeling after I've done our usual 10. All right. So first up, we have Ferris Wheel Press Peppermint Drop. I have a couple of bottles of Ferris Wheel Press, but I really haven't used them that much. I need to do that. I've got Tanzanite Sky and Jelly Bean Blue. And I love both of them, especially that Jelly Bean Blue. But I think somebody was having a sale, and that's why I bought those 2 bottles. But rather than buying a bunch of bottles, I decided to get some samples, which is the smart thing to do. Not that I always do the smart thing, but that's okay. So this is Ferris Wheel Press. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm shaking the camera. And this is, what did I say? Peppermint Drop? Peppermint Drop. I like peppermint drops. Peppermint Drop. I used to put my foot on the bar underneath the table to try to hold the table still. But now that I've switched tables, I should probably try to do that again. Alrighty, I know this one is green. It looks like a very dark green. Wow, that is super dark. I always think of peppermint drops as red and white. You know those peppermint drops that you get? They're the kind that just dissolve in your mouth. Oh, those are my favorite. I love those. Wow, that is super duper dark. And I don't see any dripping going on here. Let's see. Oh, he's dripping very sluggishly. But super duper dark. Okay. So we are going to set him aside to dry. And, I thought there was a sticker on there. Alrighty. Let me see if I can put a sticker on one-handed while I'm hanging on to the Q-tip. There we go. Wow, really, really dark. I know there's a Robert Oster ink called Peppermint something, and I think it's green, but I don't think it's nearly this dark. Oh, yes, I'm putting him back in the rack and getting out our next contestant. Let's see. Oh, this is R&K Solferino. Okay. Didn't I just do this one the other day? Look at that. You know what? There were 2 samples that I combined into this one, and here's another sample. I've got Solferino on the brain, but now I have like 8 milliliters of ink here. My goodness. So I need to get this into a pen. What do you think? Okay. So we're putting those aside. Gosh, I might need to get a little bottle or something to put that in, because it's more than will fit in a single vial, a sample vial. Okay. So I am looking for another ink to take that one's place. And I always have more samples to go through. So let's see. I'm not looking. I'm just going to pick one of these. That is Robert Oster True Blue. I'm thinking I've already swatched this one. Hold on one moment. For those of you that have been with me before, you know that in 2020, I did 91 days of blue inks. And this is the rack of those blue inks. And I'm pretty sure in this rack somewhere is a Robert Oster True Blue. Ooh, there's Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. I need to use that one some more. And I'm guessing that it came from Pen Chalet, which uses these colored lids. There's Bondi Blue. I already looked at that one. Lake of Fire. Well, I don't seem to have it in my blue rack here. So we will go with the assumption that I have not yet swatched this one. But just to make sure, I'm going to check this one to see if that was it. And it's not. Okay. So we're just going to move forward with that one. It feels like I've done this one before, and I probably have, but that's okay. Better to swatch twice than not at all, right? Alrighty. And I've mentioned before, there are so many beautiful Robert Oster inks, but there's just so many of them, I don't know which bottles to buy, so I've only bought a couple of bottles. So this is Robert Oster True Blue. But looking at that rack just reminded me how many beautiful inks I have that I haven't used. So I need to get some of those samples out and start using them. Okay, so now we need to swatch. And I'm thinking about the upcoming 30 Inks 30 Days in April. And my plan is to do Noodler's inks, because someone had requested that I show all of my Noodler's inks. And I do have quite a few. I have quite a few bottles, and I have gotten some more samples. Either I purchased them or pen friends have sent them to me. So I will have more than enough to do 30 days of Noodler's ink. So that should be fun. That's nice. Kind of a, I don't know if I would call it true blue, but it's certainly a nice blue. I would say it leans a little more to the teal. Ah, but that teal, it is a chameleon. It's an ever-changing color. Ooh, uh-oh. Did I lose my Q-tip? I think I did. Let me see. Is this the right one? I think it is. Oh, I don't even have to worry about that because this guy's lid already has some color on it. But I always like to do a little bit extra just to make sure I've got the right colors going on there. Alrighty. And next we have Rohr and Klingner Smagragrün. Now, Sarah from Fountain Pen Insanity sent me a sample of this, and I have obviously purchased a sample of it myself, but I think I only swatched it in my notebook. I don't think I actually made a swatch card for it, so we're going to swatch it right now. Such a pretty color. And I have been, you know, I'm embarrassed to say I have been thinking about buying some more ink. I've got 50,000 bottles of ink, and I have no business buying any ink ever for the rest of my life. However, I've been looking at ink on the Cult Pen site. I want to make sure I spell their name correctly this time. So we have Rohr, and can I fit that in there? We're going to try. Klingner. And I want to make sure I spell this name right too. Ooh, my card's moving all over the place. Smagragrün. I'm sure I did not say that correctly. Oh, I can't cap that yet because I need to do my swatch. Anyway, I was looking at the Cult Pens website, and their ink prices for their Diamine inks are just ridiculously low. So of course I want to buy all of them, but it just doesn't make sense for me to be buying a bunch of bottles of ink because I have so many bottles of ink that I haven't used, but they're so pretty. And I was also looking at the Rohr and Klingner inks, which I don't think I have a bottle of. I don't think I have a single bottle of Rohr and Klingner ink, but their bottles of Rohr and Klingner are also ridiculously cheap. But at the same time, oh shoot, I forgot his label. If they have the bottles for cheap everyday prices, then they most likely will keep having those bottles for cheap everyday prices, which means I don't need to rush out and buy a bunch of ink right now. I should be focusing on using what I have and just buy ink when I get low. But we all know that will never happen. I would have to transcribe all of Shakespeare's works many times over before I ran out of ink or even got low on ink. Ooh, isn't that pretty? All right, who is next? This is Sailor Ink Studio 223. So how many bottles of ink do you have? How many samples do you have? And do you feel like you have enough, or do you want more? I have enough, but I always want more. And I have not actually counted my bottles. I'm afraid to do that. I don't want to know. But I saw a post from Penultimate Dave. He posted a picture of his ink bottles, and he had many, many ink bottles. So I'm not the only one. All right, little guy, come on out here. I don't want to completely douse the handle of the pen. I mean, you see, I can't help but get ink on my fingers. So I try to reduce that as much as possible. But anyway, Penultimate Dave, he bravely posted a picture of his ink bottle collection. And it did look lovely, all stacked up there together. So this is Sailor Ink Studio number 223. Oh, it looks very dark. But inks are frequently dark coming off of this glass nib because it writes so wetly. So let's see what our swatch is going to look like. Ooh, it's a very dark gray. But as we know from the Ink Studio inks, it's not only gray. There's going to be some other things going on here. But it is feeling kind of dry, as the Ink Studio inks do. They just seem to have a lot of surface tension or something. There's some weird stuff going on with the Ink Studio inks. But yeah, can you see that? It looks like black and purple, or gray and purple. It's very interesting. Let's see what our little label is going to look like here. Very dark, very dark. So I've seen people post videos, not videos, they've posted pictures on Instagram about their empty ink bottle challenge. All right, this is Sailor Ink Studio 150. So have any of you tried the empty ink bottle challenge? That's where you know, I really don't know what the details of the challenge are. Are there rules to the challenge, or is it just kind of make it up as you go along? From what I understand, I think people pick out a bottle or several bottles, and they work on using up that bottle over the course of a year. And some people seem to have the amazing ability to use up many bottles of ink over the course of a year. So I'm very interested in that, and I would like to try it very much, but it also makes me very nervous. Just thinking about using up a bottle of ink, it makes me very nervous. Like I'm ever going to run out of ink, but I don't want to run out of that ink, you know? Does that make sense to anybody else? This is 150. I mean, I honestly can't think of any ink that I have that's impossible to get. Well, there might be a couple that I haven't told you about yet. I'm pausing for some tea. I have some lovely Thai Fu. Very, very dark. I like my tea and my coffee as strong as possible. That's where the flavor comes from. So, yes, inks that I haven't told you about yet. I do have some. I have some lovely mysterious packages that are waiting to be opened that contain some wonderful mysterious inks. My goodness, this is very pale. Whew. Now I wonder how this would be to write with, because it's so light. Super duper light. Wow. As I've mentioned before, Milky Ocean, Troublemaker Milky Ocean, is one of my all-time favorite inks. And it's fairly light. It's not this light, but it's kind of a pale blue, and I love it so much. And I used it to write a letter to a pen pal, and I was concerned that it would be too light for her to read it, but she said no, she could read it fine. So that was good to know. I kind of get used to the colors, and it looks perfectly normal to me. Also, the Venta mascara, I love that ink too. Ooh, this is Diatrementis Petrol. Now, last week we had the Mont Blanc Petrol, and I wonder if this one would be a close match for my Lamy Petrol pen. Whoops! Oh dear. Oh dear. We just had an avalanche of inky Q-tips go on the floor. Okay, I don't think that was too traumatizing to the carpet. Rather traumatizing to me, though. Okay, I will put Bobo on guard duty. He will keep the used Q-tip tray from tipping over again. Where were we? Yes, Diatrementis Petrol. So I wonder if this would go with my Lamy Petrol pen. But the Mont Blanc that I had last week, I don't think that would go with the Lamy pen at all. All right, Diatrementis Petrol. That is looking quite like our peppermint drop. Let's see. We will certainly compare the cards at the end, but yes, I would say this is looking rather like peppermint drop. But the Lamy Petrol, I think it's kind of darker and grayer. I don't know. Got a little bit of a drip there. All right. let me see. Next up, we have, ooh, Van Diemen's, The Wilderness. This is Huon Pine. Ooh, I haven't tried many of the Van Diemen's inks. That's another brand that I definitely need to learn more about or try out more. So let's see. Van Diemen's. And this is Huon Pine. Lovely, lovely. We seem to be having a lot of greens this time. Isn't that interesting how things kind of cluster together? Alrighty. Oh, the ink looks like it's doing some interesting things on the card. It's weird. The inks that I can't get a drip out of, they seem to make the tip of the Q-tip really stiff, really hard. But the ones that I get a good drip out of, they make the Q-tip really soft and spongy. I mean, look at that Q-tip. He's kind of flattened. But what was the one before that? This was Petrol on the other side here. And I couldn't squish that Q-tip hardly at all. That's so weird. Uh-oh. I forgot to do our lid. Oh, well, nope. The lid's already done. Thank goodness. Gosh, there was something I was just talking about, and I lost my train of thought when we had the avalanche of Q-tips. This is Robert Oster Summerstorm. Ooh. I know this is a grayish color, but the lid is looking really purple. So this should be interesting. Oh, you know what? I was trying to decide if I wanted to finish the rack today, but I'm getting low on cards. So if we run out of cards, that will decide how far we go. So this is Robert Oster Summerstorm. Just felt like the pen was really wet. I was looking to see how much ink I had on my fingers. How much more ink I had on my fingers. Okie dokie. So yes, it's looking like a purplish gray. Actually, the swatch is looking kind of like a bluish gray. That's very pretty. And again, we're just not getting a drip. I can kind of force one. Interesting. Oh, and he's already got some color on there. That's good. All right, set that one aside to dry. And this one is Robert Oster 1980s Colors Bass Straight. Ooh, I've been wanting to try this one for a while. And here it was in my ink rack all the time. All right, Robert Oster Bass. And is that straight like the Straits of Magellan? Nope. It's straight like a straight line. Where is the Strait of Magellan? Is that South America? I can't remember. Ah, Magellan. There was quite a character. Oh, wow. This is surprisingly pale. Gosh, it kind of reminds me of the tone of, well, of Summerstorm. But not a single drip. Let's see. Whew. Nope. We're just getting a blob. No drips. Alrighty. Alright, this is Diatrementis Violets. Ooh. Yes, Diatrementis is another ink that I have... Oh, I just dropped the lid. I'm just all butterfingers today, and I just realized that the camera's crooked. We gotta do a little adjusting here. Whoops. That lid is just determined to be on the floor. But I have other plans for it. All right. Oh, uh-oh. Got some ink on my card there. Ooh, I got a big dip on that one. So this is Diatrimentis. Very wet, and it is Violets. I think Diemen has an ink called Violets too. And I wonder how close they are. Ooh, my water has been fairly turquoise, and I put that violet ink there, and now it has like a red cloud in it. Gosh, I don't think you guys can see that. But that was crazy. Blue and purple make red? I don't understand that. That was really weird. Okay. So it seemed to write very wetly. Let's see if it swatches wetly. Fairly wet. It's a lovely purple though. Trying not to stick my fingers in the writing. Well, doesn't want to drip. Got a little tiny drip, and I also bent the Q-tip. Poor Q-tip. That's a very nice purple. Okay, we've got 2 cards left, and we've got 3 inks to go. So that last one we'll just have to wait until next time. Okay, oh my goodness, here's another Diatrimentis. This is Sherlock Holmes. Ooh. I've been wanting to try this one for a while. Alrighty. Ooh, I got a really big dip on that one. I think I need to wipe the pen off a little bit. Good heavens. Alright, this is Diatrimentis. And again, it seems to be writing very wetly. Sherlock Holmes. It looks very nice. It looks like a very dark blue, which is right up my alley. Let's see. Ooh, we got a little fuzzball on the Q-tip there. Oh yes, this is very wet. The Q-tip is just sliding all over the place. There's just not a good place to hold on to it. Well, maybe that's good. Maybe I should hold them like that from now on. And we're getting a nice big drip. Well, good. I'll have to put him on my list of wet inks as soon as I start a list of wet inks. I should do that though. I feel like I never know which inks are wet and which inks are dry. But I really feel like the drips on my cards help. So when I have one like the Robert Oster where I only get a blob, then I'll know that that one's a much drier ink. But then when I have one that has a great big puddle on it, then that'll tell me that it's a much wetter ink. Okay, this is our last card. So this will be our last ink for today. And we have Sailor Ink Studio 740. We had a 740 something last time. Which one was that? It was one of these guys. 735. And this one is, whoops. I'm just a Butterfingers today. That's why we have sample holders, so we don't have a catastrophe. Okay. Taking off the lid and putting him right in the sample holder. Okay. Wow, it's very blue. And very hard to get ink on the nib, but I got a whole bunch on the pen. Well, don't like wasting ink. Especially this Ink Studio ink, which is so expensive. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sailor Ink Studio number, what did we say? 740? 740. Ooh, that looks like a color I'm gonna love. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of our Sherlock Holmes that we just had. So let's see. Let me get a Q-tip here. Gosh, the Q-tips are awfully fuzzy today. And wow, again, it is feeling so dry. See, it hardly wants to come off of the Q-tip. Look at all those white areas. That is crazy. So I'm really scraping it onto the paper to get it to come off. Yikes. I don't think we're going to get a drip out of this one, but let's try. Well, he's trying a little bit. With a lot of ink and a lot of pressure. But that is such a lovely color. Now, with a little white lightning from Van Ness, this might be one of my favorite inks. That is such a beautiful blue. All right, well, we're out of cards. So our last little sample will have to wait until next week. And my goodness, I need some more racks. So I'll have to work on that this week. Amazon, here I come. All right, so I'm going to give these guys a chance to dry, and I will be back in just a minute. All right. So I have put Gus outside where he is enjoying barking at things, but I know the neighbors don't enjoy him barking at things, so we'll see how long he stays out there. Okay, first up we have the Ferris Wheel Press Peppermint Drop. It is a lovely dark green with lots of pink sheen. I think you can see that pretty well. I never know when the sheen is going to show up and when it's not going to show up on the camera. So weird. All right, here is the Robert Oster True Blue. And this has a little bit of red sheen right around the edges. I think you can see that a little bit. But I definitely wouldn't say this is a heavy sheener. And it's kind of on the lighter side of blue. Next up we have Rohr and Klingner Smaragdgrün. That's such a fun word to say. I don't think I'm saying it quite correctly, but Smaragdgrün. Ooh, it looks like the Loch Ness Monster is running down the page there. That is crazy. It does have quite a bit of red sheen. Can we see that? I think we can see that. Very interesting. And this is looking much, what's the word? Like more turquoise. And in the darker area, it's looking much greener, like much more of a true green. You can kind of see there. It's almost like it's two different colors. It's really interesting. All right, next we have the first of our Ink Studio inks. This is number 223. This is kind of a purpley gray. Now in this dark area, it's looking very purple. Can we see that on the camera? I think so. Or very kind of blue right in there. But this has some interesting shading going on. And next up is another Ink Studio. This is 150. A very pale purple. I think in person it might be even a little more pale, a little paler. But it's a nice light purple. Kind of reminds me of Vinta Mascara, but I think Vinta Mascara is a little more interesting. It has a little more of that multi-shading going on. This one is just kind of a straight purple. There might be a few undertones in there, but mostly just a light purple. And then we have Diatrementis Petrol. Kind of a green. I don't know what I think petrol would look like, but this is just kind of green. And kind of similar to our Smaragdgrün, the lighter green area and then the darker green area with some red sheen going on. Interesting. Ooh, and you know what? Let me see where the Mont Blanc is. I've got it here somewhere. Let's see. Here is the Mont Blanc Petrol, I think from last week. Very blue. Very blue with lots of red sheen. So really different takes on petrol. Interesting. And then we have Van Diemen's Huon Pine. Again, lots of greens this time. Very interesting. I think this is a really pretty green. And it has a teeny little bit of red sheen. And I hear Gus barking. I might have to go get him. So there's the Peppermint drop. It's definitely a much darker green. A different shade of green. Whoo, but that sheen is just going crazy. All right, then we have Robert Oster Summerstorm. A lovely pale grayish purple. I don't see any sheen, but it does look like it would have some lovely shading. And it's actually somewhere in between the Ink Studio ink, or that Ink Studio ink, and this Ink Studio ink. So they're all on the pale purple spectrum, but one is a lighter purple. Can I hold these up to the camera? Kind of from light to dark. From clearer to smokier. Very interesting. Honestly, I think I like Summerstorm the best. That's such a pretty color. You know, when I just set this Ink Studio ink down, I noticed like a green halo on the dark area. Oh my goodness. Can we see that on the camera? I don't know if that's going to show up, but just something about the angle when I set it down. It's definitely green. Huh. These Ink Studio inks are very surprising. You just never know what you're going to see. But I still like the Summerstorm better, even if it doesn't have a halo. All right, next up is Robert Oster Bass Straight, a very pale blue. I can see in the writing lots of shading, and there is kind of a red ring. Ooh, dog hair. But I would not say that this is a heavy sheening ink. Just a nice light blue. Then we have Diatrementis Violets, a very vivid purple with gold sheen. Yep, I think we could see that gold sheen pretty well. Very nice. And I think we have just enough space to squeeze our last two inks on the end. Let's see. We've got Diatrimentis Sherlock Holmes, that lovely dark blue with some red sheen. Very pretty. And finally, we have the Ink Studio 740. Gosh, it looks like it has, I don't know, feathered or something on this card. Now, of course, this is watercolor paper. This is not fountain pen friendly paper. So I wonder what this would do on, you know, Clairefontaine or Tomoe River paper. But it looks really strange. Can you see that? It's kind of, it doesn't look smooth. All the other inks, they look very smooth where they were applied, but the color here looks really rough. It just dried in a funny way. And it does have some very interesting things going on here. It looks like it has some greenish gold sheen around the edge, but in the middle of the dark area it looks purple. Of course, that might be the sheen affecting the color, but it looks purple to me. And then that crazy greenish sheen. Again, a very surprising Ink Studio color. All right, well, those are our inks for today, and I hope you enjoyed swatching these with me. And I will see you again soon. I'm getting ready for 30 inks, 30 days, so I might do a video talking about my prep for that. We'll see. But that is all for today, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.